Hey, y'all, listen. Welcome in the building. Happy Friday, y'all. It's Trending Topics Friday. We here, we in the building. We got some stuff to talk about. You listen. Today's topic is called messy. But before I get into today's topic, I want to say rest in peace to Biggie's mom, Valletta Wallace. 72 years old. She took over her son's estate when he passed, and she did well by it. So now she's going to be reunited. Well, she is reunited with her son, Biggie. So rest in peace, Valletta Wallace. And then we have Tiger's mom. Tiger's mom, very young, only 53. He didn't really talk about what happened to her. He just mentioned that he lost his mom, and he actually lost his mom January 18th. So he lost his mom last month. But I guess once they announced the passing of Valletta Wallace, he felt compelled to say, you know what, I release this now. My mother has also passed. So, condolences to the Wallace family, condolences to Tiger and his family, and may his mother rest in peace. And then, again, before I get into today's topics, Simon Guobadia was not a United States citizen. ICE is not playing now. They're coming for anybody and everybody. He kept trying to get his citizenship. So you would have thought that, people do too much. But they say you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. He was out in these streets so busy trying to clown Portia and get her out of that mansion. And he surely should have been begging her to help him get this citizenship. So now ICE got him. And I don't know, he's going to get deported wherever he came back to, wherever he came from. So it's messy. But again, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So at this point, probably by default, Portia gets to keep the mansion. It's interesting. But we're going to move on. It's Friday night. It's Trending Topics. I'm glad y'all hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all. As you come in the building, hit the like button. To my moms that are currently out there, thank you, Savannah. Thank you, Katrina. Hold the fort down because we have stuff to talk about. So today we're going to talk about one of Diddy's lawyers, Tony Rico. Tony Rico was the wild card. I didn't realize that Diddy already had 5 lawyers. All I can say is good, googly my. Can you imagine the amount of cash that is flying out the door that he is paying in legal fees per month? That bill is nasty. And I used to joke around and say, thank you, Julia, is another mod out there holding it down. I used to say to myself, in my next life, I'm going to come back as a lawyer. You know what, though? I'll pass. Let somebody else have that job, handle that job, and do that job. I'm good. I'll take a pass. It's a lot of responsibility. And then, sometimes you're going to get clients that are guilty, but that's where your skills has to come in, because you as a lawyer are going to have to try to get your guilty client set free. So guess what? Nah, I'll pass. I'm not coming back as a lawyer. Shout out to all the lawyers out there. But Tony Rico, I don't know if he didn't like the number he came in the chain of the line of the lawyers, because Mark was the lead lawyer. Mark was the head honcho in charge. But to me, Anthony seems a little more level-headed. Mark was out here doing documentaries about his own client. Where they do that at? Mark did a whole documentary about his own client and was a kiki and a ha-ha about the baby oil. But you see, when Tony came in, Tony wasn't running these streets saying anything crazy. And when he did answer a question, he answered one question. They asked him, how is Diddy feeling about being in jail? Is he good? He said, ain't nobody good in jail. And Tony went on about his business. But Tony left us with this cryptic message today as to why he wants off of Diddy's case. And he said, under no circumstances, zero, donut, none, can he stay on this case. The lawyer has to sign off on him being removed. And he said, look, I didn't just hastily, put in this paperwork. He said, I spoke to Mark, deuces, I'm out. And even though they claim on Diddy's team, we're not in crisis, we're good, this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good that a few months before your client is about to go to trial, a major lawyer says, I'm out. Doesn't look good, but we're going to talk about it. Then we got Faizon Love, the comedian. If you don't know who he is, Google him real quick, look him up. When Cat Williams did his infamous interview with Shannon Sharp, he talked about Faizon Love. Well, Faizon Love, and see, that's why I don't use third party nothing to get nothing. Because 9 times out of 10, you will get screwed. If I'm going to go stay at a Hilton hotel in California, I'm booking off of the Hilton Hotel's website. I'm not going through these third parties. I'm not going to try to find sideways, highways. Who's going to give me a $2 discount off the room? I'm going to sign up for the points with the Hilton. See what deals I can get through the Hilton. But I'm booking my room through Hilton. Not these sideway doors. So apparently Faizon Love booked his room through some sideway door. And as a result, when he got to the hotel, they said, hold up, wait a minute. We full capacity. We ain't got no room for you. And he was like, hold up, wait a minute. He showed his phone. Here's my reservation. He said, here's my reservation. They said, I'm sorry, we full. Go talk to that third party and ask them to give you your money back because we can't help you because you didn't book it through us. You booked it through someone else and we're packed. Increased matters, I heard. He's detained. ICE got him. Thank you so much, though. ICE got him. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I'm talking about Simon Gubadia. So, he gets mad at the receptionist that's telling him that they booked and it's full. So he picks up the credit card thing and he tosses it at her. Child is knocked upside the head. She's claiming concussions, memory loss, pain and suffering. Says she's going to have to go to the doctor forever. But see, that's what he get. You a celebrity. Too much is given, much is required. You got a lot to lose. And now this woman, she's going to win her lawsuit. She's going to win. You picked up the credit card reader and you tossed it at her. You got to be dumb, stupid, or both. You losing your mind over a hotel room? Do you not have an assistant? You don't have no assistant? So you could call your assistant, hey, yeah, it's Diva. I'm at the Hilton. They saying I ain't got no room. Can you help me out? Stop being cheap. Get an assistant. But no, you being cheap. You did it through some third-party booking, and now you getting mad at the receptionist. They ain't got nothing to do with this. It's told you, listen, we packed. We're booked. You should have asked for a supervisor. But we're going to talk about it. Faizon Love in trouble. And they got a warrant out for his arrest. Got a warrant out for his arrest. Then we got DJ Khaled. You know, and this is Diva. I'm a woman of a certain age. I think some of these rap beats is too much, is going too far, and it's just it's enough is enough already. Can't we all just get along, grow up, act like adults? And I think that the artists have to be very careful, because some of these fans are fanatics. They're crazy. They lose their mind. They pick a side and they get out of control with it. Someone delivered a makeshift coffin to DJ Khaled's house. Rest in peace, Drake. It was just some crazy nonsense. And I'm saying to myself, people do too much. People really need to meditate, start reading books, watch a little Netflix and chill. Some people really get too into these beefs. It's crazy. It's insane. But we're going to talk about it. Listen, people, it's Friday night. It's Trending Topics. I'm glad y'all here. I'm glad y'all hanging out with me. Y'all know what I need in the chat, because I'm about to bring the people on in the building. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Friday night Trending Topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Messy. We got Diddy, lawyer said, I'm done. Tony Rico has left the building. We got Faizon Love in trouble, and DJ Khaled shocking delivery. Let me bring the people on in the building. Hold on 1 second now. Hey, in my opinion.
Hey, Diva. Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Hey, Wayne. Hey, Savannah. Hey, Leah. Hey, Julius. Hey, Katrina.
Hey, y'all. Hit the like button. I'm watching.
Happy Friday, chat and panel.
Happy Friday. Listen. All right, guys, we're going to do into a little bit of this law and crime, I think it is, commentary on the first story we're going to do is Diddy. Let me just see if I still have it queued up here. I do. Okay, so we'll take a quick listen on this. Everybody hit that like button. Don't cheat the Divas. Friday night. Come on now. Hit the like button. Doing our Friday night show. So let's just listen to a little bit of this.
To start. On Friday, a surprising announcement came down. One of his defense attorneys suddenly quits the case. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure a lot more puzzling. Shortly after Diddy's arrest, his defense team grew when he stacked on 2 more defense attorneys to join Mark Agnifilo and Tinny Garagos at the defense table. Now, the 2 that joined at the time were high-profile attorney Alexandra Shapiro, whose client Sam Bankman-Fried actually shared a unit at the detention center with Diddy, and high-profile death penalty attorney Anthony Rico. Now, while the pair joined around the same time, Anthony, in a court filing on Friday, said he's leaving the case. In the filing, Anthony Rico said, quote, "For the reasons set forth below, this motion for withdrawals is filed so that Sean Combs may move forward with his defense and to commence jury selection and trial without any delay. As a result of discussion with lead counsel Mark Agnifilo, this motion for withdrawal of counsel is filed. While I am aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted, there are sufficient reasons related to protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I have provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs," end quote. Now, essentially in legalese, I quit, but I can't go into details because of attorney-client privilege. According to the filing, though, the defense shakeup won't delay the case. Diddy will continue with 5 attorneys. That's Mark Agnifilo, Tinny Garagos, Alexandra Shapiro, Jason A. Driscoll, and Anna Esteval. Now, a judge still has to sign off on the motion, but with the government taking no position on it and the fact Anthony Rico spoke with Mark Agnifilo about it before filing the motion, a judge will likely sign off on it. Now, as I mentioned, Anthony Rico is a very well-established death penalty attorney and was lead defense in up to 45 federal death penalty cases. His bio on the Fordham Law University website says some of the notable yet controversial cases included Anthony Rico serving on the counsel in the World Trade bombing conspiracy case and embassy bombing in 1998. And he stays busy. He also doubles as an adjunct professor of law at Fordham and has been practicing law since 1982. As for Diddy himself, as many of us know, he's been locked up on charges of federal sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, that last charge I mentioned, i.e. count 3 in his indictment, transportation to engage in prostitution, well, Diddy's lawyers are wanting that charge thrown out, citing it's from a racist law. Just days before Anthony Rico filed a motion to withdraw from Diddy's counsel, Diddy's lawyers filed a motion to dismiss that charge because they argue no white person has ever been the target of a remotely similar prosecution. So that charge is known as the Mann Act, which was previously named by Congress as the White Slave Traffic Act, which made it illegal to transport people across state or international lines for the purpose of prostitution. Here's the thing. Diddy's lawyer says the law has a history of racial bias. Diddy's defense seems to be gearing up toward his alleged criminal conduct wasn't criminal. It was his personal business of what was going on in his bedrooms or hotels or wherever the freak-offs occurred. So they're saying that count 3 wasn't transportation to engage in prostitution, but was just him using escorts, male escorts at that, to bring in as a third with his girlfriends. Whereas the government's theory of the case is Diddy used force, fraud, and coercion to make his alleged victims have sex against their will in his freak-offs that he recorded for his own pleasure. Now, Diddy pleaded not guilty to all his charges, hence why the case is going to trial. And that trial is set for less than 3 months from now, in early May. Now, despite being locked up for 5 months, Diddy's case continues to make headlines, not just from the federal trial, but also the dozens of civil lawsuits he still faces. But Diddy scored some wins behind bars. One of his civil lawsuits accusing him of raping a 13-year-old with Jay-Z back in 2000 was dismissed after the accuser dropped her lawsuit against the two moguls. Now, both vehemently denied the allegation, and Jay-Z, for his part, took it a step further and sued the accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, for extortion. However, despite that being dismissed, Diddy still faces a number of civil suits, even from accusers whose lawyer isn't Tony Busby. As for Diddy's federal criminal case, the stakes are high. He's facing a minimum of 15 years in prison, but a maximum of life behind bars. Let's break down the latest defense team shakeup with attorney and former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Nima, it's always great to see you, and thank you so much for joining me today. What's your reaction to Anthony Rico saying he's quitting the defense team, and how significant is it, being that Diddy's 3 months away from trial?
Elizabeth, it is significant, and it's tough to know the reason why. It could be any number of possibilities. Sometimes it's when the lawyer hasn't been paid, but we know obviously Diddy doesn't have that problem. He's got plenty of money. It could be a disagreement regarding defense strategy. It could be a conflict. It could be a health issue. It really could be anything, and the paperwork doesn't identify it, nor should it. And the fact that Mark Agnifilo is still on the case and the other counsel of record leads me to believe that the judge is going to rubber stamp this motion and grant it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of surprised, like you were too, because even being inside the courtroom and throughout Diddy's hearings, you would see Diddy and Anthony kind of speaking to one another. He would always pass him notes while Mark Agnifilo made the arguments. Diddy and Anthony Rico would exchange hugs with one another. Anthony Rico always even made it a point to tell the judge Diddy's family traveled all the way to New York for his hearings. With all of that being said, kind of going back to what potentially the reasoning might be, do you think that it might have been a personal conflict between Diddy and Anthony Rico, or do you think it might have been Anthony Rico with other counsel? But what do you make of all of that?
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, it seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B. And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of sexual assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them in such a way that he has to get off the case. So it could be any number of potential conflicts.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, kind of just looking at the motion to withdraw too, like you had mentioned before, not much reasoning given. Anthony Rico wrote, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I've provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel. Five other attorneys will remain on record. What do you make of just that? It felt like he was saying a lot, but then not at all much at the same time.
Well, when you withdraw, really, you still need to protect the client and the confidences. So you don't want to say something that may jeopardize him or the case. And you also need leave or permission of the judge. So you want to provide enough so the judge knows that you're not leaving the client high and dry, but you don't want to provide too much that may compromise defense strategy or a weakness in the case or some other issue that would hurt the client. So it is a delicate balancing test. But again, when you have so many others still on the case, I don't expect there to be an issue here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know we've spoken a number of times about the terms of Diddy's defense strategy and what it kind of feels like possibly once trial comes. And it seems like they're kind of going for, there was no force, there was no fraud, there was no coercion, that the freak-offs were consensual, there was no sex trafficking. Do you think they have something else up their sleeve, or do you think that the defense will kind of remain going forward that, all of this alleged bad acts were consensual and it was just a relationship between two parties? It ended sourly, but yet they, brought in escorts, and that kind of speaks to a little bit of that transportation to engage in prostitution charge. But what do you just make of the defense strategy that we've been seeing so far right now?
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because look, sometimes you can argue that the sexual activity never happened, right? It wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical sexual assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the sex workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large entourage. So there's a lot of witnesses there. And a lot of this was allegedly recorded. So I think it's going to be very difficult to argue that it wasn't me. So you have to argue that it was consensual. And we've talked about the line that separates sex trafficking from consensual sex. It's that force, fraud, or coercion. So I fully expect the defense to be, this was all consensual. These are all people who are trying to shake Diddy down for money. This is all extortion. That's why they're pursuing these claims. They're just piling on. But really, this is regret, not rape. And I think that's the defense strategy in this case.
Yeah. And I want to talk to you about a motion that was actually filed earlier this week, too, where Diddy's defense wants to dismiss count 3 of the indictment, that being transportation to engage in prostitution. They cite that the Mann Act is racist and that Diddy has been singled out because he's a powerful Black man and he's being prosecuted for conduct that regularly goes unpunished. What do you make of that argument?
Those are very difficult motions to win. So it's essentially a selective prosecution motion. And the example I always like to give is, let's say you're speeding and a police officer pulls you over. It's not a legal defense to say, well, all these other people were speeding, but you didn't pull them over and ticket them. You have to show that the prosecution is for a constitutionally prohibited reason. Obviously, race being one of them. If the unlikely chance the defense can prove that this was a racially motivated prosecution, that would have a chance of success. Obviously, that's going to be very difficult because there are a lot of victims. I believe that a lot of the victims were also Black victims, men and women. So it's going to be tough to make that argument. But that's why defense attorneys do what they do. Sometimes they throw these Hail Mary motions up there, hoping that maybe something will stick, if not at the trial court, maybe on appeal.
And you mentioned that, a Hail Mary. Why do you think that they waited until a few months before the trial set to begin to file that motion, given that count 3 has been on the indictment since September?
Well, sometimes you brainstorm, you talk with different appellate lawyers, because when you're defending a case like this, you're not just thinking about the trial court. You're thinking, okay, well, if Combs is convicted, what are the chances on appeal, both to the Second Circuit, which is the Court of Appeal there, and then potentially the Supreme Court? What arguments can we make? Creative arguments. So sometimes the appellate lawyers will come in, and oftentimes they aren't the folks that have anything to do with trying the case. You got your trial lawyers, you got your appellate lawyers. So maybe they come in, they say, hey, I want this motion filed, because if you don't make the motion in the trial court, usually you waive it on appeal, unless it's some clear error that the judge made. So you got to make these motions if you're the defense, if you want to have these same arguments if Combs is convicted.
Yeah, and then of course, Alexandra Shapiro being on Diddy's defense team, a very high profile, high powered appellate lawyer, as well as attorney too. And, you know, even for you, Nima, as a former federal prosecutor, I asked you before what the defense might have up their sleeve, but what do you think the government may have up their sleeve come trial? And do you think that they have a strong enough case as we have it right now?
I do think they have a strong enough case. Obviously, if you're the prosecution and you're the government, you love the video evidence, not because it's lurid and, you know, cringeworthy, but your video doesn't lie. So when I have video evidence, I say, well, look, witnesses can lie, victims can lie, defendants certainly lie all the time, but that video doesn't lie. So I love the video evidence. Now, there are reportedly, you know, 100+ folks who have filed civil lawsuits. You're certainly not going to call all of them. But if I'm the government, I really want to call my best victims. And by best, I mean the ones that are going to be the best witnesses. So obviously we know Cassie Ventura is one of them. She's going to be the star witness in this case, but there's a superseding indictment. They talk about a couple other victims, some of the physical and sexual violence. So right now what I'm doing is I'm sort of sorting through and saying, okay, well, I don't want to rely just on one victim, but, you know, maybe I want 3, maybe I want 5, you know, somewhere certainly less than 10. You're not going to parade all these victims there. It's cumulative, and it could potentially, you might lose the jury. So you're going to probably pick anywhere from your best 3 to 10 victims, certainly not more than that. Make sure that they're prepared on the stand, because you know the cross-examination is going to be very aggressive. This is a defense case. It's pretty much going to be based on cross-examining the victims and saying that, you know, Cassie was upset because they had broken up, and this was a lover's dispute. It wasn't rape or sex trafficking. So you know that the cross-examination is going to be strong. You want to make sure those victims are prepared.
Absolutely. And of course, the news coming down just this week that Cassie is pregnant with her 3rd child. What do you think that could look like in front of a jury? You have Diddy's defense team probably coming out with that very strong, very aggressive cross-examination. And, you know, come her time to testify, she could be months pregnant. What do you think that could really look like, and how that could translate in front of a jury? I feel like they would have to be pretty delicate there.
No question. And it's not good news for the defense. Everyone loves a pregnant woman. So when you have a pregnant woman on the witness stand testifying, already there has to be some sensitivity. And that's why, you know, oftentimes we talked about at the top that, you know, you'll have females who cross-examine females who are making these types of accusations. Obviously, a recent famous case was Camille Vasquez cross-examining Amber Heard. Sometimes it can be overbearing just from a perception perspective, when you have a man cross-examining a female victim, and then now you have a pregnant female victim. So I would expect that cross-examination to be done by a female lawyer.
Yeah, absolutely. Nima Rahmani, always great to have you on. Always love your insight. I really appreciate it. Before we sign you off, though, my final question to you is, Diddy is a name that makes headlines across the nation, internationally, especially here in New York, too. What do you think, do you think that Diddy can get a fair trial come jury selection?
I think it can, and I think technology has really changed everything. You know, maybe decades ago, before Law and Crime, you'd have, you know, these cases that got a lot of local attention, but now everyone in the world knows who Diddy is. Doesn't matter whether in New York or LA or Miami, where he had homes where some of this activity allegedly happened. Everyone knows who Diddy is. So there's no moving the trial to some other city that folks don't have some sort of preconceived notion about this case.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I remember just during one of his first.
All right, so we'll kind of stop there. We got the gist of it. Let me just go ahead and bring up one more thing. Yeah, I think that was a strategy too, her getting pregnant. But you know what? Do what you got to do, I guess, because this is going to be a heavy case and a lot to get through. So if you got to be pregnant, then hey, be pregnant. So Sean Combs' lawyer quits ahead of sex trafficking trial. Under no circumstances can I continue. One of Sean Diddy Combs' defense lawyers has quit, Anthony Rico, who is, I just want to pause this. Hold on 1 second so it won't be playing in the background. Can I pause it? All right, I don't know. I'll let it go. Oh, wait, I can pause now. Anthony Rico, who is one of the 6 attorneys working on Combs' sex trafficking case, respectfully but regrettably filed a motion to withdraw as representation on Thursday. Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice, Rico wrote in the documents obtained by page 6. However, the lawyer didn't reveal the exact reason behind his decision because of attorney-client privilege. As Anthony, while I'm aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted only upon a showing by affidavit or otherwise of satisfactory reasons for withdrawal, he continued, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by attorney-client privilege for privacy in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Rico assured the judge that his resignation would not result in a delay of the May 5th trial, since the disgraced rapper 55 will continue to be represented by 5 other attorneys of record. He informed Combs' lead counsel, Mark, that he would step down before filing the paperwork. However, a judge has to find sufficient reason to approve Rico's request, meaning he is not off the case quite yet. It's unclear how long it will take the judge to decide and sign off on the withdrawal motion. Rexford Combs did immediately respond to page 6 request for a comment. The Bad Boy Records founder has been behind bars in New York City since September 2024, 10 months after his legal woes began. In November 2023, Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, accused him of art and abuse throughout their decade-long relationship. Although the two settled the lawsuit just 24 hours later, dozens of other people have since accused the rapper of similar crimes, of all of which he has denied. Homeland Security raided Combs' multiple homes in March 2024 and was subsequently arrested 6 months later. Combs was accused of throwing wild parties called free calls and charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in the P word. The I Will Be Missing You rapper, who faces up to life in prison if convicted, pleaded not guilty to all charges. So Anthony has left the building. While Combs prepares his defense, he's also recently flipped onto the offensive, filing a $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC Universal and the production company Ample for the alleged lies aired in their Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy doc. According to Combs, the docuseries suggests he's committed numerous heinous crimes, including serial M, R of minors, NS trafficking of minors, and attempts to cruelly psychologize him, despite not getting a chance to prove his alleged innocence in court. It's maliciously and basically jumps to a conclusion that Mr. Combs is a monster and an embodiment of Lucifer, and a lot of similarities to Jeffrey Epstein, the lawsuit alleged. Combs' team claimed they warned the network against making the unequivocally false accusations, which they allege have been debunked and lack any credible evidence, 1 month before the show's January 2024 release. Ooh, it's a lot. In my opinion, your thoughts? Tony Rico wants to leave the building. The judge still has to sign off, but he wants out.
Let me tell you, when I saw it, I'm just, something told me that he looked at this evidence, he heard what Diddy had to say, and he said, I can't do this. I can't win this. I'm out.
Well, thank you. In my opinion, Wayne, your thoughts? Are you there, Wayne? Okay, I can't hear Wayne. Julius, your thoughts?
I guess the government has more evidence than I anticipated. So, let's go through the premises, shall we? what do they have? I guess we're gonna find out at the trial. But I would also like our very own bureau reporter, correspondent, to confirm if I am correct.
Can you hear me, Diva?
Yes, I can, Wayne. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, I was thinking that Tony was probably fine until I don't know when they knew Cassie was pregnant. You know, and I think she was going to be the target for him to go after. Okay. And now this woman is pregnant. Can you imagine if he went at her the same way he would go after a woman that wasn't pregnant? Can you imagine what would do to his reputation? Because maybe he knows that this is the witness that he's going to break or whatever to break this case. Maybe he has it all figured out, you know. But I mean, it has to be something, because I'm sure he would have been getting paid millions, was getting paid millions by Diddy, you know, and to walk away from it. It had to be something, I think, that would jeopardize his career. And also, I think he may know something because of the attorney-client privilege, that if he had to defend him, knowing what he would know, I think it would be some kind of conflict of interest. You know, but it's, you know, something deep that he would walk away from that kind of money. At first, I thought it was a power thing. You know, I thought maybe he thought he was going to be the head honcho, so forth and so on, and delegating. But kind of rethought it.
Thank you, Wayne. Leo, your thoughts?
Think of it differently. This man, Rico, the attorney, has been practicing law since 1982. So what that tells me is he's a seasoned attorney. And defense is not about, when you are a defense attorney, it is not about whether or not your client is innocent or if you believe they're innocent or guilty or not. It's about it's making sure the court, supposedly, this is how it's supposed to work, that the court is being honest and fair. If people did not have defense, people would be going to jail for crossing the white line on the sidewalk, because you could be, and they already do that anyway. So for him to be a seasoned attorney, I'm quite sure in whatever that evidence shows, I'm quite sure the evidence is stacked high. I do believe that Cassie being pregnant will be an obstacle, but this seasoned attorney is not going to quit because it's a challenge, or the person he knows to be guilty, let's say, per se, he knows to be guilty. It's about making sure that the state is keeping them honest. You're going to have the burden of proof is upon the state, and they need to be challenged the utmost for burden of proof if they want to convict me. And what that takes is a great defense attorney. That part. I think that it's more so about the fact of their legal strategy, because from everything I've heard from the defense team thus far, it's some BS, it's some weak tea, it's some crap. You ain't defending nobody out of that. It's racism and all that. He's a black man that has practiced law. He ain't get ready to participate in that foolery. He ain't get ready to put his good name, his good reputation on that dumb stuff. That's dumb. That's dumb. That's not a good defense. Even I know that, and I'm a nobody. So that's what I think. I think they probably, or the money might be starting to get funny, and Diddy lawyers and stuff, everybody got to keep their hands in the pot. They may have changed the pay strategy or something on him, or the millions that he was supposed to get, his retainer was supposed to get renewed, and they acted silly.
I'm like,
because he do have 5 other attorneys.
Yeah, that's a lot of attorneys.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And he's not generating income the way he was generating before. And he got 6 kids, 5 kids, something like that.
Child 7.
Parent kids, Lord help us. So that's what I think. I think that I think it's more professional reasons than anything else besides him, possibly allegedly is guilty. So
Mm.
uh, that's my take.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Savannah, your thoughts?
I'm gonna agree with Leo. That's what I was thinking. That this lawyer, has seen the evidence, and is not willing to put his reputation or career on the line to defend something that is indefensible. And Cassie being pregnant, how that is going to play in social media, because I believe that this trial does start as scheduled in May of 2025. Cassie will be about 8 months pregnant. So putting her on the stand is a risky move, and it's not a the general public is not going to want to see anyone making her stressed out in any way. I just think that this lawyer, because at first I thought maybe it was more internal tension, the lawyers fighting amongst himself, and since he's my only minority lawyer, I thought there was some tension there. But after reading some of the news articles that came out today, I think that this is more him not wanting to go down with a sinking ship and saving his reputation. So I'm going to agree with Leo on this one.
Mm. Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts? Katrina, are you there? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll on to the next story. I don't know what's going on with Katrina, but we'll move on to the next story. So, Faizon Love, and I gotta, yeah, I think I spelled it right. Faizon Love, lost his mind at the hotel because it was booked, overbooked, or booked, whatever the case may be. But he booked his room through a third party. So when he got there, it was like, sorry, it's all booked up, and so he lost his mind. Let me go ahead and share screen. So actor Faizon Love struck a San Diego hotel worker with credit card reader, lawsuit alleges. A San Diego woman has taken legal action against actor and comedian Faizon Love, suing him for assault and battery stemming from a hotel check-in gone awry. Love's accuser, Elizabeth, filed her lawsuit against the Elf and Friday actor on Tuesday in San Diego County Superior Court. Elizabeth has also sued the actor and multiple unidentified co-defendants for intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and property damage. An attorney for Elizabeth did not comment to the Times. A representative for Love did not immediately respond to the Times' request for a comment either. The complaint revealed by the Times centers on an alleged incident that occurred August 9, 2024 at a Sheraton Hotel in San Diego, where Elizabeth was working as a front desk agent. Elizabeth informed Love 56 upon checking in that the hotel could not honor his reservation, allegedly booked through a third-party app because the hotel was at full capacity. The couple's retreat actor allegedly became agitated and aggressive when Elizabeth advised him to contact the app to receive a refund for the unfulfilled reservation, the lawsuit said. Without being provoked, Love forcefully ripped the credit card reader off the counter and hurled it at Elizabeth, the complaint alleges, striking her on the right side of her head. Elizabeth's suit alleges that she suffered a concussion and a visible bump behind her right ear as a result of the incident. She also claims her glasses were broken at the evening and that she continues to suffer great mental and physical pain and suffering. Additionally, Elizabeth's complaint says she incurred and will continue to incur expenses for her medical care, including hospitalization and future treatment. The lawsuit said police responded to the incident, took statements from both Elizabeth and Love, and cited the latter for battery. The San Diego Police Department did not immediately respond to the Times request for an incident report. As of October, there's an active warrant for Love's arrest. He is wanted on a felony charge for assault with a deadly weapon, according to the San Diego County Sheriff's Office database. A day after the alleged incident, Love expressed his frustration with the third-party hotel booking app. In an Instagram post, he warned followers to stay away from the app. Elizabeth is seeking an unspecified amount in damages and requests a trial by jury. A hearing is set for August. He lost his stuff. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So I think Faizon Love has lost his ever loving mind. Who does this? Who acts like this in public? I think he better take his tail on down there to the police station and turn himself in, and don't let him catch him on the streets. And I think he better get his mind right. He reaped what he sowed, so he put it out there like that. And this girl said, "You a fat face on lie," just like Cat Williams told him in that what you call it with Shannon Sharp. Yeah, I just think this was really stupid.
A mess. Wayne, your thoughts?
I hope she gets everything she asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can believe everything she said about pain and all that stuff. And I've seen people, I used to work in reservations with airlines, and I would get customers on the line who had reservations and things by price line, and specifically says you can't make any changes, you can't even touch it. And they get mad because they're not treated like a person that just purchased a regular ticket. That's the third party. They contract with them, and you can't even touch it. So nobody even touch it because it's something you already got it discounted. So the airline's not even having anything to do with it. And that's the same way with those reservations. You make them through those third parties and not through them. The ones that's gonna get there first is the ones who book directly with them.
Facts.
And people don't deserve that. In the public, being attacked by a customer.
Facts.
That's ridiculous. That phone could have actually unalived her if it hit the right place.
That's true. Oh.
And then hindsight is 20/20 vision. What was I thinking? I'm done.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Jeez, it seemed like Big Worm came out. You know what they say about Big Worm? Pay me my money. You decided to hit somebody with the car, read a Big Worm. You out your mind. Ever loving mind. Go back and sit down.
Leo, you're up.
Boy, I tell you, customer service is hell, ain't it? I mean, people be catching the devil. Lord have mercy. He has problems with handling his emotions. I don't know what he been doing. I don't know if he got a substance abuse problem, if he likes the libations too much. I don't know if he having family issues. He probably having money issues, because if you can't even act right at the airline, how you gonna act right down to the studio? I mean, who would hire you? You can't even control your emotions over upset with your plane ticket. I mean, come on. I'm sorry, hotel ticket. I mean, reservation. I just don't get it. It's not that serious. You can't just book another one. You ain't got no credit card. You can't make another reservation someplace else. To turn violent is unacceptable. It's not that serious. He really got problems. And you know what? If they got a warrant out for his arrest, they taking that butt to jail. They gonna get him. And if they publicized it, I'm gonna tell you somebody else. They didn't give it to the U.S. Marshals. If it's publicized now and they gave it to the U.S. Marshals, it's only a few days. I give it a week. He'll be in San Diego because the U.S. Marshals don't play. I have seen them capture people for it in places in the country, in deep dark woods, places you wouldn't believe, and they had a rollback to pick up their car and take it away.
Wow.
They will find you. So yeah. And that assault charge too that he had. So he's been charged criminally. She's filed suit civilly. So he going down. He is going down.
Mm, 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 mm. Savannah, your thoughts?
I think me and Leo are traveling in the same car tonight. Um, Faizon Love has been on a downward spiral um,
Mm,
over the past few years, and he's been extremely angry with his social media post and coming out, inserting himself in beef that he doesn't need to be into. And I agree with Leo. I think there might be some alleged substance abuse problem because this isn't like him normally, but Faison's been angry for some reason lately, and these are federal charges. I'm sorry, these are felony charges. So
mhm,
he's gonna be either paying her, which she absolutely deserves. I agree with Wade that if he would have hit her correctly with that card reader in the right area of her skull, that could have caused some serious permanent damage to the point of unaliving the hotel worker. So I say she needs to get him for whatever she, as much as she can, whatever she can, and he needs to learn a lesson here. If he needs to go to rehab, or I just think Faison is losing his talent and ability to be a comedian for whatever he's going through. He needs some help. Faison
yeah,
has been really angry over the past few years.
mm. Thank you, Savannah. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah. Just go get another room.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trust those things like travel advisors and all those type of people, because once you make those arrangements, if you don't get there in time, they will cancel everything. But he should have known who he was going through, trying to get a cheaper room or a ticket or whatever he was trying to do. Man, all you had to do was say, okay, can you tell me somebody that or can you tell me a hotel that's close to here that not booked up? I mean, you could have used your head, but no, you want to act crazy because you think you're a celebrity and think you can get away with it. So
Mm,
if I was that girl, I would, and he had to hit her pretty hard for those charges to be a felony.
mm.
You know, you can be a misdemeanor or something like that, or civil, but for her to be a felony, he in some, like you said, Leo and Savannah and everybody on the panel, he in some trouble because you don't just, oh my God, and then it's a girl. It's ridiculous. He needed, oh child, I don't even know what to say for him. I mean, it's a big worm just messed up. That's all I got, Diva.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a girl, it's a female. Like, he lost his natural mind, but he gonna pay. He gonna see. This last story we gonna go through really quickly is DJ Khaled. Um, Hold on one second. DJ Khaled marked for death or Coffin Khan. Takashi 69 also targeted. So DJ Khaled has become the latest celeb to receive a spooky black coffin at his Florida home. This after Takashi 69 got one himself at his mansion earlier, TMZ has learned. Khaled's creepy coffin was dropped off at his Miami residence last Saturday by two people who rolled up in a truck to a security guard claiming to be from a delivery company, according to the police report. We'll take a quick. It's a rest in peace. It's a upside down cross, and it has Drake's name on it, which is so incredibly crazy. It's like people need to get a life. That's just so disrespectful, and I don't think it's funny. I think it's pretty sad. Let me just pause that. So after they were given permission, the two drove to Khaled's property and deposited the black coffin outside his gate. Scrolled across the coffin was "Rest in Peace" over and "Rest in Peace Drake" in white letters, along with an upside down cross. Police say the pair got down on their knees to pray in front of the coffin before they jumped back in their truck and drove off. Cops says the guard had the coffin destroyed and tossed in the trash. Interesting. Drake and Khaled used to be cool with each other, but recently they had a falling out after Drake dissed Khaled by thumbing his nose at DJ Khaled's new album. And then 2 days earlier, Takashi, who was also lives in Florida, received a similar casket outside his residence, which was delivered in the same fashion by two men in a Tesla. As we reported, the black casket also had messages in white lettering written on it, including "Rest in Peace, King Von." Takashi had a long-standing beef with Von, who was fatally unalived in 2020 in Atlanta. TMC has exclusively obtained body cam footage of officers arriving outside Takashi's home and speaking with 6ix9ine's brother, who found the coffin. The rainbow hair rapper wasn't home at the time, but his brother was, and he looked visibly shaken because it's sad. It's not funny. One cop knows Takashi is under the Fed's microscope since he's still on probation due to his New York City crime case. As you know, he testified in federal court against members of his former gang, but he later refused to go into witness protection, putting him at risk. Despite this, the Miami Beach PD and Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office seem to have no interest in pursuing the coffin culprits, or because the cops tell us they're not investigating either incident. We reached out to Khaled for a comment. So far, no word back. We also reached out to Takashi, who agrees that the coffins look the same, which begs the question, could these Grim Reapers be part of the same delivery crew? Guess we'll never find out because the cops are not investigating it. But I think this is pretty sad. In my opinion, your thoughts?
These fans have gotten atrocious.
Mm.
I don't know where these people come from. These sick fans that think they live vicariously through these people. I think they actually need to have a sit down with a professional to find out why you so obsessed with these stars that you don't know lives. I just don't understand how we get so crazy and so wrapped up into it that we feel like we gotta put ourselves in it. I ain't never been that crazy for nobody. I pray I never do get that crazy where I'm fanatic like that. I think it's sick to drop a casket off at anybody's house. This is ridiculous.
It's insane. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't think it was funny. That's it.
Yeah. Julius, your thoughts?
Sickening. Get a grip.
Leo, your thoughts?
The music industry is dangerous.
Ooh.
That's it. Especially it's very dangerous to even be like a young rapper. Them drill rappers. I don't want to call them little, but they all young people, young boys that's into this drill music that's about taking out people, neighbors, people around you, different sets, different crews, and it's all wrapped up in the same type of it's unaliving people music, and they all into it. So it is very, very, very dangerous to be into that type of genre of rap music. And it's dangerous. All right, it is definitely very dangerous.
I agree with you. Dangerous. Savannah, your thoughts?
So I heard about this not too long ago. They're not the only ones that have received coffins to their front door, but someone like DJ Khaled, he lets it be known where he lives. He's always flexing and showboating for social media and making it easy for fans or even haters to find where you're at and come and harass your family. I'm not certain where 6ix9ine lives, but DJ Khaled, I am familiar where he lives. That's a gated community, a really heavily gated community, and so that falls on the security of that HOA. It's like, why did they allow these people to gain access to this private area? But again, DJ Khaled is one that's constantly putting his personal information as far as like his address, his home, what he every time he buys a car or has a party, he puts it on social media and makes it very easy for people to have access to them. Um, there's been other people that are tied into the entertainment industry in South Miami that have received a coffin, but I'm not certain on the why. But I know I've heard this story before. It's not just these music people. I know some that are even in the reality TV. It's something like selling real estate or some crap like that. That one of them got a coffin, and that's the first one I heard. But I'm not sure who's doing this or the why, but it's not uncommon. And DJ Khaled's always flexing. I don't know anything about 6ix9ine besides he's a snitch, so I'm not certain with his story, but you should be private. There's a lot of entertainers that flock down to Miami, and they love showing their lifestyle, not thinking about the security or the harm that it could bring their family. So I just say he needs to do better and improve his security.
Mm, thank you. I appreciate you. Katrina, your thoughts?
What I'm concerned about, well, I'm not concerned, but what I'm saying is, why would you deliver a casket to DJ Khaled and it has Drake name on it? Shouldn't you be delivering it to Drake? And another thing was to what his name's Takashi, whatever his name. They were saying that he was a snitch from New York. That's how he got out of prison. But and then you got the upside down cross, which means that you're a Satan worshiper. You antichrist. So that's another thing right there. And you're right, Savannah. They always post where they are or what they doing and where they partying, what kind of gifts they got, because that's how Pop Smoke got taken out. They read the one of his gifts and they seen the address, and that's how they got him. So, but the upside down cross and stuff like that. I mean, that whoever it is saying that they the Antichrist, because that's what that means. This is very freaky. And why are you putting going around with coffins? This is some crazy mess. And I hope they catch whoever is doing it. But I don't think it's the fans. I think it's somebody is gang related or somebody in the music industry. Because for you to get between through those gates or whatsoever, did you pay the security officers? Did you pay people to let you in? Because if Savannah said it was gated like that, how you get in there so easily? Um, Hopefully they'll run cameras and see who it is, and maybe they can stop, because that's some freaky mess. You sitting up there putting a black coffin in somebody's yard. It's just crazy. But that's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. Tay Tay, anything on this story?
One, do not show people where you live at.
Mm-hmm.
Two, don't be trying to be a gangster. Just be who you are yourself. Then we will have no problem with this right here. And you should hire some security where you at. That's all, Diva.
Thank you, Tay Tay. Listen, I appreciate y'all. That was our Friday night trending topics. Okay, we had Diddy lawyer drops, and we're going to see how this trial goes. Before you know it, May will be here. In the Keefe D trial, ironically, they pushed it to 2026. I don't really know what that's about, but they pushed it out to 2026. So he's going to be behind jails awaiting trial for a whole nother year. So they pushed that trial out. We got Faizon Love losing his stuff. He a whole grown man. Take your credit card, go to another hotel, and while you at the other hotel, follow up with that app and tell them to give you your money back, okay? And then we got DJ Khaled's story. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I probably may do some updates tomorrow because there's a lot of stories that we have done over here where there are some updates. But listen, guys, y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody.
Do not cheat the